Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdouts Newsstand, and one thing as DC Comics fans we have always had above Marvel is not only the books, but the animation. What we have gotten in terms of animation through DC has always been relatively good. There are a few that fell short, but this is not one of those instances. I want to talk about Superman and Batman Battle for the Supersons. This is a brand new movie written by Jeremy Adams. And if that name sounds familiar, it probably should. He's writing currently Flashpoint Beyond with Jeff Johns and Tim Sheridan. He also is writing the ongoing Flash series, and I've had him on my channel before. Now, Jeremy Adams also has done his dabble in animation. Actually, it's where he got his start. And a lot of what he does is very, very wholesome. A lot of what he does is stellar, but wholesome at heart. And this is no different. I was really surprised, and I don't know why, I shouldn't have been, when he wrote this entirely on his own. Because it is so good. Right off the bat, I'm not going to bury the lead. This movie is fantastic. You are going to enjoy it. It is, and I reviewed Catwoman Hunted. I really like the character of Catwoman, so I'm going to tell you that's still my favorite, but this is a close second out of what we've seen from DC animation lately. Much better than The Long Halloween or Justice Society. I love this story. And one thing very contentious in the comic book fandom is the idea of, do we like Jonathan Kent as a child or aged up and having his own story in Son of Kal-El? Now, I actually enjoy both. I'll be the first to admit that I like the Son of Kal-El series, but I also love what we get from, Peter Tomasi with the Challenge of the Supersons or different stories within that. But one thing great that has always been there when it comes to the Supersons is the idea of that dichotomy of almost good and evil. Not really all the way evil, but Damian is a little shit. And a lot of times I've said, I really didn't care for Damian during maybe Grant Morrison's run or some of the others. What really got me to like Damian as of late is the actual Supersons run and then continuing in his own Robin series. This is that amazing dynamic that everybody has been looking for. I love this story. The voice acting is great, and we're going to get into spoiler territory, so I'll warn you right now. But we have Troy Baker as Batman, phenomenal. Laura Bailey as Lois Lane, great voice acting. We also have Jack Dylan Grazer as Superboy, as Jonathan Kent, and Jack Griffo from the Thundermans as Robin. I loved this story. I loved the acting. Let's talk spoilers. This is a basic setup of something we've seen before, right? Starro kind of joins along the ride of Clark coming to Earth and waits his turn. He didn't know his dad was Superman. He was a fan, but he didn't know his dad was Superman. He just thought he had a kind of partially absentee father. Why was he going away being a journalist for 2 weeks? Why wasn't he there for his ball games? And then he realizes why when he actually gets heat vision for the very first time. And we see him kind of slowly moving into his invulnerability, into his different powers. We get to see him not be able to fly, but he can fall with style, right? These are great things that we actually get to see Jonathan Kent come into. We get back to the dynamic of Damian being very new to Bruce, right? Very much so in the Grant Morrison era of just getting to know his father. He's got his cow. He's got Bat Cow. I absolutely love it. We actually even get to see Crypto in this. Crypto is haunting. Like, there is a shot, and I really wish I could show more, but this movie is brand new and they won't let me. They'll just block my video over and over again. But there is a part of this where Crypto is following the boys as they get into the Fortress of Solitude, and he looks haunting. Like, I've never thought of Crypto as anything other than sweet, but he's taking the spot almost of Calyx as the guardian to the Fortress of Solitude, and he looks great. He absolutely looks wonderful. Makes me want to watch League of Super Pets, but I digress. We get to see them. Everybody's taken over, right? Everybody is, and we see Damian finally accepting the idea, actually getting turned down to be a Teen Titan and really leaning on, in a way, in a Damian type way, leaning on Jonathan for that support. We see them go and have to free humanity. And at the very end, even when they have decided that, the world needs a Superman more than a kid from Kansas, more than a farmer boy from Kansas, because that's what John sees himself as. The world needs Batman more than they need a psychologically messed up Damian Wayne who's really trying, but sometimes failing. They decide, above all, that the world is worth them sacrificing themselves. They see the good in humanity, even Damian, which is awesome. But there are so many good lines back and forth of Damian and John picking on each other. Typically something right out of what we would see from Challenge of the Supersons or Adventures of the Supersons. It was great. And I don't want to spoil too much, but obviously they saved the day. Okay, I just spoiled it all. But then we get to see a great battle between Superman with John at his side and Batman with Damian at his side against Starro, and them kind of paying all this off with the idea that these sons can work together. They decide they want a name. They need a name. Damian turns down the Teen Titans, and they decide to become the Supersons. And it's so heartwarming. Every little inch of this was filled with amazing dialogue. And really, honestly, the only thing that was a little bit jarring, and it only was for about 5 minutes, was the animation style. I had to get used to this kind of almost glitchy animation style. And it didn't take long to get used to, but it was a little jarring at first. I will say I did like Hunted animation a little bit better. Catwoman Hunted. It was, again, I am very much so a Catwoman fan, so that has a lot to do with it. But it was also very anime-esque, right? Whereas this was a little bit more Western, and it fell a little flat for me. I love Damian's design, though. His big hair, beautiful. Such a recommend. If you are a Superman fan, a Batman fan, a Supersons fan, this show, in a nutshell, is wholesome, uplifting, and really honestly great. I don't have a lot to say bad about it. We see Lois kind of, being the badass that Lois is. We see funny little bits from her, like we're used to, with her not knowing if it's the fourth estate or the fifth estate of journalism. I love every inch of this movie. It's got rewatchability. Amazing. Make sure you guys check it out. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I'm not just a